Hello to everybody. It's great to see everybody that's here, and we have folks that are coming in by the droves now because it's hitting now. So welcome to the FSSI OS2 update here from Cartridge Savers. We appreciate you being here. Real quick, I'm Dave Lowe. I'm the moderator. With us we have Rob Wangard. Say hi, Rob.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I greatly appreciate it out of your busy day.
Super. And Jason, did you make it in yet? I don't see you here yet. He will be here before too long, I think. Hopefully he pops in with us. We're going to talk about some things with Ability One as well, so we'll keep that going. So real quick disclaimer, this is a vendor-sponsored event. It's not associated with any of the other agencies or anything like that, so and it's voluntary. All the components that you see here, it's not indicating that you love us or want to promote us above anybody else. So we want to make sure that disclaimer is out there so everybody knows that it's us. You are in control. That's the next piece. And if you open that side panel, you can take a look and you can see that you can ask questions. And what we're going to do is we're going to also ask you to put in your audio pin so that we can create a dialogue. There's probably, last time we did this, it was over 100 people here. We're at almost 70 now, so the chances are it gets crazy when you start having too many things open with the audio. But if you put in your audio pin, we can unmute you and we can create a dialogue. You can also email govsupport@cartridgesavers.com. and we'll make sure that we are monitoring that and get those questions answered as well. So feel free to reach out that way. And this would be the best briefing ever and what I want you to do is practice your skills here in entering this information so we can actually see what's happening with your questions. And if you open that up and you give us your questions, I'll read those out loud. This will be the best briefing ever and we had some of this done a little bit earlier, and Rob says if Dave was wearing cologne. Appreciate that, Rob. There you go. So Tammy K says, if it was brief, and she's with the VA, so we appreciate Tammy keeping us on track with that. And Kimberly said, can we still use FSSI vendors? Great question. Go ahead and answer your question. Post the question in here, and we'll make sure you're included. Open that panel on the right-hand side and pop it in there, and we'll make sure you're included. Donald J. says, if you learn something, great. Donald, I hope you do. Donna, briefers, stay on track with the agenda. She is also with the VA, so we are going to bow to the VA to be on track and brief. How about that? And Marie said they explained the new guidelines. Great thing. Appreciate that from Marie from NAVFAC. And Kathleen said, if we would be able to purchase locally and save a lot of money in Arkansas. So absolutely, that's a great question there from Kathleen, and we'll be able to address that as well. Susan Q with the National Guard in Virginia. My question is regarding exercising option is answered. The answer is, go ahead, Rob. Tell her what the exercising option years is answered. What's the answer?
You mean for FSSI?
FSSI OS2.
OS2, the option years, it was canceled completely Friday, 2 days on the 13th. The extension was officially whatever the opposite of exercised is. They took it away. So we're now reverting to the GSA multiple award schedules under Schedule 75. Or you also see the term MAS, and that's all the dealers that were FSSI participants hold a Schedule 75.
Got it.
I think I answered that question. So the option for FSSI is gone.
It's dead. Yeah. It is absolutely dead. So if you have any more questions, you can pop, if you see this little doodle up in your right-hand screen, you can pop that open, put a question in. We'll be glad to answer your questions if we can. If not, we will find the people who can. And we're looking forward to rolling on through that. But that was a quick question, Susan. If you, so you can leave if you want, but you can stay. So we want to have a special welcome to the procurement professionals that are here. Bunch of P card holders, a lot of folks, you know who Cartridge Savers is, so I don't need to promote that, but we really appreciate you guys being here. Department heads, we have a few. contracting officers, specialists, logistics management, facilities management. We know folks are coming in from all over the place, including some GSA specialists and other agencies as well. So we really appreciate you guys being here and hanging out with us and kind of helping us through the process. Real quick about Cartridge Savers, we have a strong presence in a lot of different federal agencies. We are, and we were, now there is none, one of the FSSI OS2 contract holders. And we also have a Schedule 75, as Rob mentioned earlier, and we maintain other agency BPAs throughout different agencies. And just a real quick overview from the standpoint of Ability One, we were awarded a 2013 Outstanding Ability One award, and we also have outstanding contract performance all the way across the board since 1994, and $21 million in annual sales, and we are a small disadvantaged business. We graduated 8A. So to give you an idea of who we are, what we've done, that's kind of, for those of you who don't know about us, and those of you that do, that's kind of the update on where we are with that. So here we are as to why we are here, actually. In June 2010, FSSI 2 was awarded, and the VA was one of the leaders in that, and we worked with the VA on rolling that out. OS2 was adopted by most federal agencies as it was mandated by OMB. So,
Dave, we have
other
people on too. Homeland Security and the Navy were the other two leaders. They were the driving force on this.
Super. I'll make sure we update that for the next one. So yeah, so between DHS, the Navy, and the VA, they rolled out this, and it was, as you know, you probably knew this from the mandates that came through for your agency, whether or not it was coming down on you guys. We worked with all the different agencies to roll out the program. And in January through April of 2014, GSA competes FSSI OS3. So that's kind of where we are, where those bids got submitted and they're being reviewed. May 31st, FSSI OS2 expired and GSA extended OS2 for up to 6 months while they were approving the OS3 vendors. And here's what happened. The VA sent out an announcement on June 4th pursuant to, and other agencies did as well, but we know about this one. Pursuant to regulation, GSA has made the decision and must suspend performance. So we know that it was suspended. And then, as we found out on the 13th, Rob mentioned it earlier, that OS2, GSA decides not to address the OS2 extension protests, and they decided to put all their weight and effort behind the OS3 award, and that's where we are right now. All the FSSI OS2 vendors were notified that it is done, and they're not doing it. So that's what we know so far, and that's why we're here, because on one side of the fence we have the vendors, on the other side of the fence we have the procurement folks, and everybody's trying to figure out what the heck we're supposed to do now that that's happened. So one of the reasons that I really like this kind of forum is that we can talk about why we're here. We can facilitate ideas. If you have some ideas from your agency, you want to share them, we'll be glad to share that with everybody. The forum for communication, to provide access to resources and to help each other through the process. And I'm not just talking about for cartridge savers. Obviously, we do the cartridges and toner, but this FSSI is much larger than that, right? There's a whole bunch of pieces that are involved, and we didn't start this problem. We didn't cause it. We're just all in the process of dealing with it, right? So we're all in the same boat together, trying to figure it out. And if we can help you and you can help others, that's why we're here. That's exactly why we're here. So real quick. All existing FSSI OS2 dealers maintain a Schedule 75. Rob mentioned this earlier. P-card purchases can be business as usual using the Schedule 75. And if you're using Schedule 70, you can use it instead of your FSSI BPA. Those pieces can go. You can ask the vendor for help. And if you order it through FSSI or use an FSSI OS2 contract BPA number, it's not going to work. Rob, you want to expand on that a little bit?
Right.
Or did we get it all?
You need to use for on GSAadvantage or working with the dealers directly, you need to use their Schedule 75 number. Like on the bottom of the screen, ours is O2F0007N, and that's different than the FSSI number, which is, if you type that into Advantage, nothing will happen. It will say, it will error out. So if you have a favorite dealer that you like to work with that was FSSI, just go through, type in Advantage, their name, and their current schedule will pop up. Of course, we'd like you to give us a try too. And the other thing is, we were toner and ink only on FSSI, and now our multiple award schedule is over 30,000 items, including Jan Sand items, toilet seat covers, toilet paper, cleaning supplies, copy paper. It's the whole gamut. And there's a lot of special bids going out by GSA right now trying to plug the gaps. So they're working very, very hard trying to fill in the gaps, do a lot of stopgap measures. Dave, is this where we talk about what GSA is doing too, or is that further down?
Give me 1 sec. I want to ask everybody with a quick poll. I want to ask where you guys, without FSSI, now that FSSI is dead, how you would generally go about ordering from your office supplies from your vendors, because we'll address a couple of different things. If you quote directly to a Schedule 75 vendor, you order from an authorized vendor portal, because we'll talk about that too. You if you like to establish a BPA internally with your agency and execute calls, or if you use GSAadvantage eBuy, or other is like open market or something like that. I'm sure that there's a couple that like that. Most folks are probably not in that category, but email. Shirley says email is another one. Very good. Appreciate that. So we'll leave that open for just another minute, or not even quite, just a few more seconds. We got a bunch of folks that have popped in here already. But just go ahead and let us know, and that way we kind of get an idea of where we can answer some questions as well. Rob mentioned that GSAadvantage, just putting in the contract number is a way to be able to get right to your favorite vendor, and we'll give you those too as well. All right, so a couple more seconds. We got most people voting. That's pretty good. Give you another couple seconds. Come on, pop it in there quick. All right. Good deal. All right, so real quick, 18% quote directly to the Schedule 75 vendors. Others order through the vendor portal. 5%, only 5% do a BPA and execute calls. That's fine. We had a higher ranking last time. 45% use GSAadvantage, and then 11% use others. Marisha says Schedule 75. Very good. Thank you so much for that. And real quick, again, VA personnel and warrant holders can access approved vendors through any of those methodologies, right? You can go with a direct quote with Schedule 75 holders. We have a lot of those that are coming in. We can quote those, order from the vendor portals. You can click and go into those. And Sarah's asking about...
Dave and I did this presentation just to the VA first. So this is for all federal agencies.
That's true. In fact, we'll do that. I'm gonna fix that. My apologies, guys. That was my fault. We did 2 of these last week for the VA alone because a lot of our customers were asking a lot of questions, so we did it that way. I am going to go, because we have a request for the vendor portals. There's a lot of folks that are dealing with vendor portals. Let me show you how things work in our vendor portal, and we can talk about that a little bit more that you can see. So if you log in to our vendor portal, if you don't have a login for that, we'll get you one. And there's a question about that too. How do we log into that? So what we do is we search. Give me something to search for here, Rob, real quick, that would show them how this works.
One of the Lexmark's most popular items are the T650. The Navy has a lot of them, and so does the VA. So the Lexmark T650, let's try that first and see what comes up.
All right.
And if you have a part number you've been buying, you just type that in there also.
All right, so we have...
So, go ahead.
We have 50 of 82 items here. You want to
narrow
that down a little?
That's too many. Let's narrow down to toner, maybe.
Okay.
And unless you're looking for a memory card or something else, then you do the broader search.
Right. So here we have these, and you can see a couple different things here. Let me see if I can zoom in here. Go ahead and talk while I'm doing this.
And we have on our vendor portal, if it is on the GSA Schedule 75, we have a little box with a star saying contract items. Those are already on GSA, same exact price as if you go to GSAadvantage. It just ours is a little easier to search than GSAadvantage. And that way, because you'll see if you look the one above, which says WPP 200408P, that one is not on contract. It's something we carry, but has not been approved by GSA. So if you're going through our portal, it's best to follow the guidelines and look at contract items only, or order contract items only. That way, we make sure it complies to all the rules and regulations.
Okay, does that make sense to everybody? You saw that the way that it works in the portal?
And everything on contract is TAA compliant.
Okay, good to know.
Which is very important for our federal buyers.
And we'll talk about that a little bit too. And the other thing that you can see a lot of times is Ability 1. We'll talk about that in a minute too.
Oh,
so
right.
I just want to make sure that we answered that question quick while it was top of mind, and we'll get back on track with this here. Again, we have the ability to do you can do BPA calls, GSAadvantage, GSA eBuy, and open market. Any of those you can do now. And to answer the question from somebody earlier from Alabama or Arkansas down there in the South, anybody that has a GSA Schedule 75, you can order from. And so you can find a local vendor now, which you couldn't have before with FSSI, because some of your folks were mandated to do that, to just use FSSI, but you don't have that now. So you have the capacity to order from a lot of different folks. Does that make sense? So real quick, any questions about this? You can pop your audio pin in. Dore, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing your name right, Dore. Is this your general public website? It is not. That's dedicated to it's your GSA schedule. You can get into it from just the government side, right? Is that right, or is that
our websites are all password protected and username. So the federal agencies see different pricing and different product. So it's not our general public website. Right.
So the contract price that's shown is correct, right?
That's correct, right. And it's only for federal agencies and other agencies that are approved to buy under the federal contract, such the Red Cross can buy off of our contract. Agencies that have been approved.
Good deal. Did we get that, Dore? And if I'm not pronouncing your name right, let me know. And Doug Wolf is asking for a copy of the slides. We'll get you a copy of the slides. We'll have links to it. Any other questions before we jump on? Okay, great. Glad we answered those for you. I pronounced the name right. Thank you, Dore. Appreciate that. All right, good deal. I'll get back to what we're doing here. So one of the questions, and Dore asked the question about the pricing, and this is interesting, and it's important, and that is some companies have committed to holding the FSSI pricing just like they were doing for the extension, and Cartridge Savers is one of the vendors that has. We don't know everybody that has, but we know that some have. So reach out to the vendors and ask them. And some have updated their Schedule 75 to reflect those prices, which we have. So everything that you see, like Dore was asking, is there on our vendor portal. And if you call in, that's the price you're going to get, and we'll be able to do that. And as Rob mentioned, there's additional items that were not available in FSSI that are available in Schedule 75, including from us with additional office supplies. If you'd like to order some of those through us, we'd love to do that. And the same thing applies for your other vendors. Is that making sense to everybody? That Lex, we had a commitment from Lexmark as well on the call last week. What was that last week, Rob? That the Lexmark, I can't remember.
Lexmark is offering special pricing. They're still working on it for their branded cartridges, the remanufactured in their OEM cartridge. And Hewlett-Packard has also offered special pricing for the previous FSSI dealers, subject to change at any second based on what GSA is telling us, but HP is committed to at least a 30-day window, and Xerox has done the same thing. Xerox is coming in this afternoon to visit with us to go over the details, but they're also locking in the pricing until OS3 is awarded, which really does help the agencies quite a bit because the discounts are substantial that have been offered to us and the other dealers that were on FSSI. Usually 10 to up to 30% off the original MAS pricing or multiple award schedule pricing. And that's the major manufacturers are working very closely with GSA to offer to pass these special pricing through.
Oh, very good. And then one of the other questions that we've had a lot is, what about Ability One? And did Jason make it in? I don't know if he did. Nope. All right. Well, we'll talk about this a little bit. FSSI OS2 extension, well, suspension, and in fact the death of it does not eliminate your department's requirements and goals. Ability One goals driven through the agencies, from what we've been told, has not changed, and that all of the FSSI OS2 holders have Ability One certifications and Ability One products either available through their vendor portals or, if you call them directly, they're already certified in order to be able to.
GSAadvantage also, yes.
And GSAadvantage also. So the vendor portals, GSAadvantage, make it easy to find the Ability One products. So that's the other piece that somebody was asking about, compliance issues, and there's a lot of that running around. So
Dave, there's a link on GSAadvantage when you log on and you're looking for a part number. There's a little link on the side that says Ability One only, and that will pull up all the Ability One products.
Okay.
So
very good. Everybody got that?
Narrows it down. Because I know there's USDA, there's a lot of agencies that are mandated to go to Ability One whenever possible. And of course, federal acquisition regulations, or FARs, say that you must go to Ability One as a first. If Ability One is there, you have to buy that one first. And that's it's a very good program that we endorse it, and we honor it very closely. And that's Ability One. If somebody's not familiar with it, just if you could send a little note to Dave on the thing, we can explain it further if anybody needs further explanation.
That's a great question, because Anita just asked that question. Okay. Great minds think alike, or Anita is stooping to our level, one or the other.
Okay.
So, it says, can you explain what types of products are Ability One? Are there any services associated?
Well, that's interesting. The services are not through dealers like us. Those are offered directly through the Ability One. They're not agencies. They're the nonprofit local Ability Ones. So the services, there's Ability One. We work with Alabama Industry for the Blind as one of our larger providers. They build toner cartridges. They also build a lot of different other things, but as they also offer services, they run base supply stores where they'll have their own employees run the store with usually blind employees working out on the base supply store. They offer janitorial services and other things, but that is not part of our schedule. They and Ability One is set up under the old JWAD, Jacob Wagner O'Day Act, years ago. So it's called JWAD at one time, and then it became Ability One, and it was put together to hire the visually impaired and the severely handicapped to offer them meaningful jobs and full employment. And I've toured at least 3 Ability One plants, and they're quite an operation. They do a lot of work, and they hire lots of people. But that's about the end of my Ability One knowledge.
At the end of your ability on Ability One, is that what you're saying?
That's right.
Cool. Any other questions? Can we get a list of who we cannot buy from? That's a great question. There's two lists that we're going to send out, and I'll get to you real quick, Rob. And that is, we're going to give you a list of all the FSSI original OS2 holders and their corresponding GSA schedules. We'll also give you a link to all of the GSA Schedule 75 holders, and then I'm going to let Rob ask the question about P-card buys outside of FSSI or the Schedule 75.
You lost me on that one, Dave.
Is there any other way? Is there anybody else that they can buy from? If they have BPAs that are associated in their agency, they could buy from them directly. Right. But we don't have access to who that would be, at least not easily.
No, and we don't know who's. Some agencies have vendors that they don't want the individual buyers to buy from, but we don't have access to that. That depends on the past performance of that company or what contract they hold, and that's something we're not set up to address. We're not privy to that information.
Yeah, so we don't have all of that. I'm sorry about that. And we have an anonymous question, and it says, is this a forever thing, or does GSA anticipate resolving the protests in the near future? Great question, you anonymous person.
GSA is actively, the protest on Office Supply 3, the new FSSI contract, the protests have been overruled by the Government Accountability Office, which gave GSA the green light to continuing processing the bids. So they have over 100 active bids right now that they're going through. And right now they're in the phase of verifying what everybody bid. The deadline for that is this Thursday, and then they'll go to the next phase next week, either further clarification or doing a reverse auction. We're not with GSA, so we can't say what they're going to exactly do next. But from the reverse auction, then they're going to narrow it down and make their decision. I hope from my end it'll be in the next 30 days that we hear who the awardees will be. But GSA has a lot of work to do with 100 people submitting bids submitted bids that they're still reviewing. We don't know how many were reviewed.
They're still doing clarification on all of those, and some of those have a lot of clarification. And that we know this to be the case just because we're in the industry and we understand it. We don't see it and we don't have any insider information or anything like that. It's all stuff that's all out there for everybody.
I know they asked me on 15 items, and I know one of my friendly competitors was asked over 50 items, and there's more than that out there.
Yeah. So, and if we take a look, there's another one here from another anonymous one. Is there any impact to expedited delivery requirements using GSAadvantage versus OS2?
OS2 is requiring 3 to 4 business day delivery. We're still holding to that at no additional charge for the 3 to 4 day delivery. Anything that's overnight, there will be an additional charge, and that will be for almost everybody that was on OS2. There's a few that can do overnight guaranteed at no extra charge, but they're not being required to do that anymore. So it's and we hit 98% delivered within 3 days, 98% of our orders throughout the nation. So that was pretty good.
And again,
go ahead.
Go ahead. That's all right.
I was saying our current contract requires 7 days delivery, but we don't take that long. And I have to assume that most of the other OS2 dealers are keeping up their service levels. They're not dropping, because most of them are still competing for OS3. OS stands for Office Supply number 3, and they're going to keep working on to keep their standards up.
And another question, are your minimum order dollar amounts ever negotiable? Some districts have smaller orders.
If you go through GSA Advantage will automatically add a fee in. If you call us and talk to one of the customer service reps, the minimum order fee is negotiable within reason. If you order $5 worth of pencils, it costs me $7 to ship it, and so that's a little harder to do. But with customers that have been working with us or will continue to work, we usually can work on the minimum order fee.
All right.
That's a good question, Dave.
That was from MJB. This is another anonymous one. We love these. These are great. How do you feel about optional quantities in orders?
Optional quantities. Maybe.
What do you mean by that, anonymous caller? I tell you what. Let me do this. I can unmute you, anonymous person. You don't have to say a word. Let's see if we can hear you. Are you there, anonymous person? I got your mic unmuted. I guess she can't talk. All right, I'll mute you again. Okay, here it is. CLINs that are unfunded but can be awarded later. Ooh. So optional quantities in order. So CLINs that are unfunded but can be awarded later.
Does that mean that can we bid on? I think she's asking if we can bid on those CLINs and set a price, and then we guarantee to lock the price in for a certain number of days. If that's a question, yes, we can.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. So if somebody issues an order I'm sorry?
Yep.
Go ahead, Dave.
That's exactly what she said.
Okay.
I'm not going to say the name of the anonymous person, but that's exactly what she said. You bid on those CLINs and establish price and lock the price for a number of days. There you go. So we got it. We're actually thinking alike. That's really scary for you, I think.
And some of those come in saying you're bidding on these items. We're going to buy these today, and we want you to lock in these other prices. And if we get the funding, everything's ready to go for the buying season. And it's better if we pave the road ahead of time. If it's because August and September things are going to get real hot and heavy, especially getting all the funding together. We know there's a lot of funding, gymnastics are going on right now. People are trying to figure out what's going on, and we know a lot of people, if they don't do it by September 15th, the money goes away earlier than the end of the year. So it's and we're willing to work with different agencies. One large federal agency issued us a blanket PO, but they didn't. It's not funded yet, so it's waiting. We're holding it for funding. So we can do different ways of doing it.
And that's and that's kind of the way it is. I think just about every FSSI OS2 holder knows how to do those things, I would imagine. So if you have any additional questions, you can shoot them over to govsupport@cartridgesavers.com, and we will absolutely include those. We have a whole list of questions already. We'll include yours, include your anonymous suggestions, and make sure that we maintain your anonymity. So real quick, before we let you guys go, avoiding the gotchas. First, the Schedule 75 multiple award schedules pricing can vary from FSSI. The vendors are not obligated to maintain those OS2 numbers anymore. I would imagine that most are, but check and make sure. Ask the vendors about their pricing and how they're handling it, and verify their pricing. GSA e-buy quotes are distributed to all Schedule 75 holders. That means, boom, it goes out to like 400 of them. So watch out for the bait and switch. One of the things that FSSI did really well is reel in some of the craziness, especially in our world, in the toner world, of being able to say, okay, you're going to get this, but we're going to send you that, right? So that's the kind of thing that we've been that FSSI really did a great job. in being able to reel those things in, which include quality control issues and high return rates. So what we don't want to have happen is the floodgates open, all of a sudden, boom, a bunch of junk hits, and then you guys are in trouble because, quite frankly, everybody here on this call only cares about one thing, is when it comes to toner anyway, and that is that when you hit print, it works. That's it. That's all we all care.
Right.
So making sure that the quality control issues are taken care of, and this goes across the board outside of just toner cartridges, is to look at everything, outside everything, and making sure that you guys are getting what you're supposed to get from your schedule holders. You had something else you wanted to add there, Rob?
No, the other thing is, if you're not sure, have the customer service rep that you're dealing with on whatever dealer you're working with verify what the product is, the brand name, and the yield. There's so many different variables. Even with paper, if you want to buy brand X paper with 30% recycled content, make sure that you know which paper you're getting. There's many different requirements within the government for depending on the usage, and you want to make sure you're getting what you're paying for. That's we all do. It's as taxpayers, we want to make sure that the government's getting the best bang for the buck. Absolutely.
And the other thing is AbilityOne mandates and goals for your department. Stay on track. You can press the vendors like us. You can ask us for help. And AbilityOne catalogs can be held. There's a lot of things, medical catalogs, all those things that they're coming out with AbilityOne. You can go to AbilityOneCatalog.com. Jason,
they came out with paintbrushes last year.
Is that?
Yeah, AbilityOne paintbrushes. They put them together. We do the AbilityOne privacy screens for the monitors. Those are made with original 3M parts, but 3M sells them these big rolls of film that they cut up per size to fit on the different monitors. So those are another high demand item.
Super. And so you can go there. AbilityOne catalog has a lot of things there. Again, watch out for the TAA and sustainability requirements. Remember to get your sustainability credits, your green credits. If you're utilizing sustainable products, that applies to your green credits. So make sure you're getting those. If your agency is measuring those, make sure you get those. And so, again, these are things that keep you out of hot water, and we'll do our best to do the same from our side as well. What's next? You'll get links to all the Schedule 75 schedule holders. You'll get a PowerPoint presentation link, as Doug was asking for before. Your presentation with a video link. We are recording this. We'll pop it onto YouTube for you so that you can view this again and again and again and again. We know how popular we are out there. So you'll have a list of all the Q&A and the answers to those. These will probably go out tomorrow or Thursday. We're just gathering all the information as for those. We do have the OS2 decision documentation for that, and OS3 awards are forthcoming, and we'll keep you posted on those. Especially if we're one of them, we're really hoping we are. We've worked really hard to be included in that, and appreciate that. So real quick, None, just wanted to say thanks for putting on this webinar. It was very informative. I'm not going to say what else you said because that'll get in trouble with all the rest of the people that are from that agency. But I appreciate you complimenting us on that. And this individual, because I'm not even going to give out her gender. I just did it. So anyway, there's 50% are done. Anyway, sorry about that. I jaded your anonymity there for that. Anyhow, thank you very much for that. Our agency uses live meeting and other platforms. Just go to webinar. As far as Superior, I was surprised that you can do polling during a webinar. I played it well over our network. Very important. Very nice platform. Thank you very much. And you didn't say that I couldn't say your name, so MJB, we appreciate that. At least it's an acronym there for you. So we thank you for those comments very much. We hope that it was informative and that you did get something out of this. And I appreciate the comment from our anonymous person, who is now my favorite anonymous person. We appreciate that. But really, from the bottom of our hearts, we know what you guys are up against. We love the fact that we're doing business with you. And I can use MLF as my anonymous person. So there you go. Thank you very much, MLF. We thank you for your comments, and I'm not going to tell the agency one. So thank you so much. You guys are awesome, and we love doing business with you. And for those of you who we haven't done business with, we appreciate you being here anyway. And reach out to your FSSI holders and the folks that we're going to send to you. If you need any more questions, we have a dedicated VA account lead. The rest of the folks and anybody else can also communicate with us at govsupport@cartridgesavers.com. Here's Rob's Wangard's information if you need to reach out to him, and Jason for National Institute for the Blind with Ability One. And if there's anything else, please feel free to forward on questions. Rob, you have any closing remarks?
I just wanted to thank everybody for joining us this afternoon. It's been a pleasure serving you over the last 4 years with the Federal Strategic Sourcing Initiative, or FSSI OS2, and we hope to continue serving you in the future. Thanks again.
Great, guys. Thanks so much. Enjoy the rest of this fine. Soon, I don't know where it is where you are, but it's getting pretty hot. I'm about to jump on a plane to head out to San Francisco. So if you're out in San Francisco, you're welcome to ping Gov Support and let me know, and maybe I'll be able to swing by and say hi. And love to communicate if we need to. So great. Again, thanks for joining us, and have a fantastic rest of your June. And we'll talk to you as soon as we know anything else.